I never used to believe in the so-called sixth sense of animals. I thought those stories were just for movies. My dog, Cooper, is a 3-year-old golden retriever, and honestly, he's usually a bit of a goofball. He's the kind of dog who gets excited by a falling leaf or his own shadow. For 3 years, our routine was simple. I'd wake up, he'd jump on my bed, lick my face, and we'd go for a run. But exactly 7 days ago, a switch flipped. It started on a Tuesday morning. I woke up, but there was no face licking. No jumping. I looked down, and Cooper was just sitting there. He was at the edge of the bed, perfectly still, staring at me. I called his name. Cooper, buddy, you want the ball? Usually, the word ball makes him lose his mind. But this time, nothing. He didn't even wag his tail. The weirdest part was where he was looking. He wasn't looking at my face. He was fixated on the left side of my stomach. Throughout the day, it got creepier. Whether I was sitting on the couch or working at my desk, he would squeeze himself into the space on my left side and just stare. And then, there was the whimpering, a low, mournful sound that seemed to come from deep in his chest. I checked his paws, his ears, his tummy. He seemed fine, but he wouldn't stop crying at my left side. I started to think, maybe Cooper is the one who's sick? By Wednesday night, I couldn't take it anymore. Cooper's whimpering was getting louder, and he had barely touched his favorite chicken treats. I was convinced he had swallowed something he shouldn't have, or maybe he was going through some weird dog depression. I spent the whole night searching on Reddit and Google, looking for answers, but nothing fit. The way he kept his nose pressed against my left side, it was like he was trying to tell me a secret I couldn't understand. First thing Thursday morning, I dragged him to the vet. I told Dr. Miller everything. The staring, the lack of play, the weird obsession with my left side. Dr. Miller did a full workup. He checked Cooper's heart, his joints, and even did some blood work. After 30 minutes, he looked at me and shrugged. He's perfectly healthy, David. Physically, he's in peak condition. Maybe he's just sensing stress in the house. Dogs are mirrors of our emotions, you know. I wanted to believe him. I really did. I paid the $200 bill and drove home, hoping things would go back to normal. But as soon as we walked through the door, Cooper didn't run for his water bowl. He walked straight to me, sat down, and shoved his head under my left arm. Hard. He was more desperate than before. I actually got angry. I pushed him away and shouted, "Cooper, stop. I'm fine. Go lay down." He just looked at me with these big, watery eyes and stayed exactly where he was. He wouldn't leave my side. And that's when I felt the first spark of something else. Friday night was the breaking point. I was fast asleep when suddenly, I felt a sharp, heavy pressure on my ribs. I bolted upright, gasping for air. It was Cooper. He wasn't just sitting by the bed anymore. He had jumped up and slammed his front paw right into the left side of my stomach. It was like he was trying to wake me up from a house fire. "Cooper, what is wrong with you?" I yelled. He didn't bark. He just stood there, panting, his nose inches away from where he had just hit me. At first, I was just annoyed. I figured a 70-pound dog jumping on you is bound to hurt. I went back to sleep, but the next morning, the ache was still there. In fact, it was worse. It wasn't the sharp pain of a bruise. It was a deep, dull throb that felt like it was coming from the inside. I tried to go about my day, make coffee, check emails, but every time I moved, that spot on my left side screamed at me. And Cooper? He wouldn't stop staring. He followed me to the bathroom, to the kitchen, his eyes never leaving that specific spot. I finally pulled up my shirt in front of the bathroom mirror, expecting to see a massive purple bruise from Cooper's paw. But there was nothing. No redness. No swelling. My skin looked perfectly normal. But when I looked down at Cooper, who was watching me through the reflection, I saw something that chilled me to the bone. It wasn't aggression. It was fear. My dog was terrified of something inside me. That was the moment I stopped being angry at him and started being scared for myself. I grabbed my keys and headed to the ER. Sitting in the emergency room, I felt like an idiot. How was I going to explain this to the doctor? My dog has been staring at my stomach, so I think I'm dying? It sounded insane. But the dull ache in my side wouldn't let me leave. After 3 hours of waiting, they finally called me in for an ultrasound. I watched the technician's face. She went quiet, her eyes scanning the screen over and over. She didn't say a word. She just told me to wait for the doctor. 10 minutes later, Dr. Aris walked in. He wasn't smiling. He held up a printout of my scan and asked, "David, what brought you in today? Were you in a car accident? Did you fall?" I told him no. I told him about Cooper. About the staring, the whimpering, and the paw hitting my side. The doctor froze. He looked at the scan, then back at me. "I don't know how to tell you this," he said, "but your dog just saved your life. You have a silent tumor on your kidney. It's small, but it's aggressive." My heart dropped. The doctor explained that this specific type of tumor shows zero symptoms until it's too late, usually stage 4. But because Cooper kept hitting that exact spot, it caused just enough internal inflammation for me to feel it. In that moment, everything flashed before my eyes. Cooper wasn't being creepy. He wasn't bored. He was smelling a chemical change in my body that even I didn't know was happening. He was screaming for help in the only way he knew how. 2 weeks later, I finally came home. I was sore, walking slowly with bandages wrapped around my midsection, but I was alive. The surgery had been a success, and the silent killer was officially gone. As I pulled into the driveway, my only worry was Cooper. Would he still be anxious? Would he still be obsessed with my side? I opened the front door, and there he was. But the dog waiting for me wasn't the trembling, whimpering animal I had left behind. The second he saw me, Cooper let out a joyous bark, the first one I'd heard in weeks. He didn't go for my left side. He didn't stare at my stomach. Instead, he did what he hadn't done since this whole nightmare began. He jumped up, carefully, as if he knew I was hurt, and licked my face until I was laughing through my tears. Then, he ran to the corner, grabbed his old, slobbery tennis ball, and dropped it at my feet. He knew. He finally knew that the danger was gone. My protector could finally just be my dog again. Looking back, I realize how lucky I am. We often think we're the ones taking care of our pets, providing them food and shelter. But the truth is, they take care of us in ways we can't even comprehend. Cooper didn't just sense a sickness. He sensed that his person was in trouble, and he didn't give up until I listened. Dogs aren't just pets. They are guardians of our souls. It's stories like Cooper's that remind us how deep the bond between humans and animals truly is. They don't have words to speak, but they have hearts that understand us better than we understand ourselves. If you're lucky enough to have a pet, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They aren't just living in our homes. They are watching over our lives. Now, I want to hear from you. Has your pet ever done something that left you speechless? Maybe they sensed you were sad, or maybe, like Cooper, they warned you about something you couldn't see. Share your stories in the comments below. I read every single one, and I'd love to feature some of your real-life experiences in our upcoming videos. If this story touched your heart, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to English Tide. Your support helps me bring more of these incredible journeys to life. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss a new story. Until next time, give your pet an extra treat today. Stay kind, and I'll see you in the next one.